Hey everybody. So I'm doing like a funny little experiment right now, and I have one thing in my ear. I have Amanda Flaker is live on Facebook right now, and I have it in my ear, and listen. I'm basically wanting to do something kind of different and just kind of cool and funny and fun in that I want to give words to our. So me and Amanda right now are having a 5D conversation. Like we are having a literal, um, uh, how do you say like I guess 5D conversation. But what are the words? We're having a psychic conversation right now. We're having a. Hold on, I want to see. Oh yeah, back. So we were just having. Okay, I'm in one of Amanda Flaker's groups online, and she goes live as part of it every week, and it's like basically going to church for me. Like I literally show up with my journal. Literally, I show up with my journal, show up with my crystals, and I receive the message that's coming through. Like, um, I hope that's not triggering any of you. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. And anyway, so we were having such a psychic conversation, and I was kind of affirming her in the comments, but then kind of just like letting it hit me, and then like also knowing that she's eventually going to see this message, and then it'll be full circle, and also the other members of this group that I'm in will see this message, and I kind of like to position myself as practically putting in the things that we're learning from Amanda's teachings. Does that make sense? Because like it resonates on such a deep level with me that I'm putting those things into actual practice and then sharing that back with the group. So it's kind of like a mirror. But anyway, so we were having this gnarly psychic conversation, and I was like, I want to do something different and record a conversation to my audience, because just to keep that funnel keep continuously moving. Does that make sense? Like I was channeled in with Amanda right here in a psychic way. Now I want to put actual language to it. So now the message didn't just stop right here. It has now gone to my audience, which will go to your all audience, because I know all of you have audiences too. So it's like it's like our words are compounding interest, and it's really cool. So anyway, her live today was um, the main the main point I took away from it is that a lot of times, a lot of people, no, pretty much everybody questions what are they here for and why, what are they doing? Like, what is their life about? What should they do in their career? What should they do for work, right? Like, especially my generation, we're all like, we all want to build our own brand, and we all want to like be our own boss, basically. And it's different than the generation above us, really, but even some of them feel this way too, in that we don't know what we want to do. We know what we want work to feel like, but we don't know how to get there, really. And Amanda teaches this concept that she learned through her friend Rachel, about urge, or she teaches this concept on urge, and I don't feel like I fully understood urge. I still don't feel like I fully understand urge technology and what urge really is, because there's so many things that get you kind of caught up on discerning what your urge is. So as I was having this psychic conversation with Amanda, I was learning and receiving downloads about what urge is, and it was further deepening my understanding of urge. So what she said that hit me the most is what you should do with your life is follow your urge, because there's a reason that innately you're urging for this, you're yearning for this experience so badly. You're urging for this life circumstance on such a deep level, it just resonates at your deepest level of knowing. The reason that's happening is because the world needs that to be fulfilled. So for its own evolution and purpose. So your urge meets the world's needs, and that's where the abundance of resources come in, because it's you using your own life force working to forward life force and forward life forces experiences, because with more resources you'll be able to have more experiences, and life just wants to continuously express itself in many different ways. So that was huge, and I got a couple points from this talk, or from this reflection, or this reaction rather. And number one is that what you should do with your life is follow your urge. And that begs the question, like, how do you know what your urge is? And that's the part where I've kind of faulted a couple times, and well, more than a couple times. And it's really been hard for me to discern what my urge is, because urge is different. Urge, first of all, doesn't have a sexual connotation to it in the way that she's using it. It does and it doesn't. It includes sex and also doesn't include sex. It includes your urge of how to express yourself, period. And so, and what that means for you. And so, how do you know what your urge is was a hard question for me to kind of like battle with, because I because mimic is so advanced that when you are really doing your best to stay in the world of abundance, it's very easy for lack to slip in because of how advanced mimic is. Mimic makes you think that you have to be it makes you think that you have to be a certain type of way to fully express yourself in the way you want to express yourself. So if you're a fashion designer, you have to basically follow Kanye West's lead on how stuff like that works. And so, interesting. Interesting. Amanda, that's so funny. Amanda just went live on Instagram, and I almost feel like she's still having like downloads or something, and I'm sure she is. But anyway, so point number one, what you should do with your life is follow your urge. Number two, that begs the question, how do you know what or where your urge is? And I will say this, urge feels expansive, urge feels moving forward, urge feels like, yes, there will be tough times, but the benefit and the payout and the experience feels good to me, and it feels aligned, and it feels like flow energy. It feels like flow technology. Like kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of in my flow right now. I feel comfortable with myself. I feel comfortable with Amethyst right here helping me. I feel comfortable with my technology, my camera and everything. And I feel comfortable with my life circumstance at this moment. And even with the things that I didn't feel comfortable in, I've gotten comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, which is allowing me to flow. So let's zoom out just a little bit. Part of my urge is putting myself online, like on YouTube, and letting my words work like compounding interest. And that's what I really want to do, because I feel like I have this ability to channel metaphors and abundance codes through words and through metaphors and through everyday life scenarios, and putting it all in a bow and wrapping it up and putting it on display for other humanity. Like that's what I'm trying to do. And if anyone ever asks what I do, I'm just gonna play that soundbite because I've never been able to say that before, because you have to dance around all this lack stuff. And with you all, I don't have to do that. With my audience, I don't have to do that with my audience, which is amazing. That's how resonance and attraction works. So urge feels aligned, it feels flowy, it feels expansive. And to be able to discern, you have to get yourself in a position to be able to discern. You have to get yourself in an energetic disposition to be able to discern. And what that means to me is getting a little quieter, getting a little bit more natural. And when I say natural, I think you can go about it in two different ways. I think you can go about it in the commonly known way in spirituality, which is get like more primal, like take off your shoes and socks and go walk in the dirt or in the water or something like that. You can get primal, but I also think you can get familiar with yourself. This is something that's really coming through for me pretty strong, in that all of our past selves, all of our past now moments, we've been a best version of ourselves at a certain point. And we at those points, we used our resources that we had at the time to help us up a level. So for example, mine has always been lifting weights and working out. It has always made me feel grounded, strong, confident, positive, my best self at all stages of my life. Even before I really started becoming more self-actualized. And So to go back to what I was saying, I think you can get quiet and get natural in two different ways. I think you can get natural by being more primal, and I think you can also get natural by going back to what you know works for you. And that one's maybe a little trickier and maybe a little bit more advanced, because a lot of times you could say, well, getting high every night works for me too. But, you know, there's I roll my eyes because that's such a whole nother topic. I shouldn't have even brought that up. But I think there's two ways of doing it. So if one's not accessible to you or one doesn't feel good to you right now, one, I would say try it. For example, like if you just don't really want to go stand outside in the sun and just like, you know, do that. Basically, I would say one, try it to make sure it's not just resistance. If you try it and it still doesn't resonate, then I would say, okay, maybe try to get back into your familiar state of flow. What did that used to look like for you? For example, is there a certain coffee shop around the block that you used to love running to and then running home with? Like, if that was a thing for you that was firing up one of your cylinders back then, you should maybe bring that back in your life, because it's going to bring that type of energy around you, and then you can grab onto some of that energy and then elevate to a whole new level. So that's a whole exercise that you can do today, and I bet something cool will happen. And where do I want to go from here? Okay, so that was point number 2. How do you know where/what your urge is? And point number 3 is, part of getting to know your urge is not knowing your urge. Part of getting to know your urge is getting to know what your urge isn't. So the downtimes are essential. And if you've been watching my page, I've been chronicling my most recent downtime where I was just feeling like not good. I was just feeling like scared and scared, period. I was feeling fear, all kinds of fear. It was bringing up all my old patterns, and all my old coping mechanisms are coming up. It's the same old story. So since I'm able to heal my past pain right now, I won't be harmed by that familiar pain, because I'm choosing this now moment to move toward my urge, and my urge doesn't include any of that stuff. So, but I had just like there's no yes without no, there's no yin without yang, there's no dark without light. Just like knowing what your urge is, you have to know what your urge isn't. So I think spending time in that downtime is super crucial. And what you can do when you're in that downtime, and I feel like some of you, aka my audience, is still there, because the way I work is I'm a manifester, and what that means is I am able to kind of see the conversation that's coming up, like right before it breaks, right before the wave breaks. I'm able to see how big basically it's going to be, how much of an impact it's going to have, and like what can soothe and what can calm, or basically how to navigate that next wave for the collective. I feel I have that ability. And so, I channel it with my words, and now through this medium of YouTube and all my other socials. But where is it going with that? Oh, okay. So what I was saying is, I feel like some of my audience might still be in the lack mode, because I just recently got out of the lack mode. So typically, I've gotten out of the lack mode. People are still picking up the scraps from their own lack mode to transmute and then turn to gold. So if you're in that phase still, this video might be the elixir to get you out, or the catalyst, I mean. And this video also might just be like a day ahead of where you're at. But then again, if you're watching this video, you're attracted to this energy, which is probably that you're just right there, you just got it, and you're just feeling better like right now, or you're going to feel better because of this video, or you're going to feel better tomorrow because this video inspired you to go call someone, and that someone is going to make you feel better. Do you see how you use your resources wisely? If you know this video is going to get you to a certain point to be able to have that conversation that you've been prolonging, but you know is going to eventually bring you happiness or bring you contentment, then you should watch this video. You know, like just do one thing in the way of restoration for you today. So anyway, that's my talk and my reflection on one of Amanda Flaker's live conversations on Facebook. Do you see how technological this is? Do you see how many layers there are in this, in what we're doing? And it's crazy. We all have a piece to play, and I'm just continuously trying to discern mine and basically hone in and sharpen my craft. And there's so many ways you can work on it. So this is one of them. And yeah, so let me just sum this up. Um, what should you do in life is follow your urge, which begs the question: how do you know where or what your urge is? And your urge feels expansive, it feels aligned, it feels flow. To find your urge, you must be able to discern, and discerning to discern properly, you have to get into a state of discernment, of being able to discern, and that's by getting quiet and getting natural. And also taking note that part of getting to know your urge is not knowing your urge. The downtimes are essential. So I hope this video resonated, and I am pretty confident that it did if you're watching this thing. So if it did though, I would really appreciate if you liked, subscribed, and commented, because it helps this word go bigger. It helps the words compound more and more and more, and then you all play your part in this symbiotic relationship. So that would help a lot, and I love you all. Thank you so much. Bye.